Well, this thing with Katie Hobbs and the vetoing of the tamale bill, um, I just want to warn everybody to don't be so quick to jump on the bandwagon just because, it's against Katie Hobbs and most of us dislike her. I think maybe in this case she'd made the right decision. And what's happening is they're using the hatred for Katie Hobbs, the left side, to help pull in some conservatives on this hoopla of going against her and calling her racist and all this for vetoing this bill. Now, when you stop and think about it, it's about health and safety. And there's restaurants that get closed down, they get fined till they get things corrected and so forth. So sometimes when you go in to a restaurant, things aren't always top notch like you would hope they would be. And so what this bill does is relieves um, home businesses or people from cooking and making meals and running out in these little tamale wagons and various things like that and setting up on corners and selling food, which is, by the way, pretty popular. They do a good business, but it's basically making them exempt from having to adhere to all the rules and regulations about cleaning with sanitation and so forth. And of course, there's no way to inspect them and make sure that they meet all the requirements. So this is kind of like a Trojan horse situation here. So I just want to warn everybody, before you jump on the bandwagon, consider it. Consider the what the bill is actually all about. And I think she took a just common sense approach to it. I mean, this bill would significantly increase the risk of foodborne illnesses by expanding the ability of the cottage food vendors to sell high risk foods. It fails to establish the sufficient minimum standards for inspection and certification of home based food businesses. It could limit the ability of the ADHS to investigate foodborne diseases and outbreaks, nor does it provide a strong enough mechanism to ensure home kitchens are free of hazardous chemicals, rodents, or insect infestations, or if equipment and storage of temperature sensitive foods are adequate, functioning, or even existent. Sincerely yours, Katie Hobbs. Okay, so that pretty much is a plain common sense thing, protects everybody. Nowhere did it say anything about Latinos or, you get it. To it. I mean, to me, there was not much thinking involved in saying, well, wait a minute. We regulate restaurants, brick and mortar. We need to regulate all food that's going out legally to the public. So, you can't govern one and not the other. All right, watch this clip and we'll see you on the next one.
Any other? So Jordan Conrad's with the Gateway Pundit. We heard in the last hour your colleagues who were speaking against this bill. They spoke a lot about racism and how it seemed, and they were blaming Republicans, even though this is a bipartisan bill. They were saying that it doesn't do enough for the Hispanic community. Representative Hernandez, I saw a tweet from you saying that the veto by Hobbs goes against your community. Can you speak more about that and whether race played a role in this decision?
I just want to start off by saying I'm hearing from colleagues that this has turned into a race war. Absolutely not. Every single one of us from the Democratic side who's here are Latinas. And I think it's really important for me to push back on that because that is not the narrative that any of us have tried to push here. We're saying we're standing up for our community because I don't forget where I came from. Right. My mother sold cakes when my father got ill so that we could be where we are today. And I'm very proud of that. So as someone who has not forgotten my community and where I was born and raised and where I come from, I will push against that. The National Hispanic Caucus of State Legislators is a nonpartisan group. So they came out and said we have legislators all throughout the country who have introduced